Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Every day there are countless books and articles that are published offering the key on how to make your business a success. It's easy to feel overwhelmed trying to keep up and run your business. That's why Deb Creer created the Business Power Hour. Keep up on the latest trends, best practices, and techniques for how to make your business a success. Let the Business Power Hour do the heavy work for you.
Good morning. Good morning. I am Deb Creer, and I am passionate about giving professionals the tools that they need to make themselves and their businesses as successful as possible. And today we have a repeat guest, and we have this guest as a repeat because we just didn't finish up talking about everything we needed to talk about. We had so much fun before, and I greatly enjoyed speaking with Chelsea Martin. And, it really was one of those conversations that we could have gone on forever, because there's so much that we have to talk about. And so we just said, okay, Chelsea, you have to come back. So welcome back.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be back.
Great. Well, let me remind people just a little bit about you, and then we'll dive back into this. So Chelsea Martin is the co-owner of Nom's Bake Shop, the industry expert in the art of convenient corporate gifting that leaves a lasting impression with clients, colleagues, friends, and family. In the noisy world of gift giving and email marketing, Nom's Bake Shop makes you a superstar, providing a convenient solution to gifting by cutting through the clutter and delivering a premium twist on traditional baked goods and corporate gifts. Nom's helps to provide gourmet gifts for any occasion in a highly personalized way that's easy to order and makes your recipients feel valued. So great. I love this. And like I said, I love that we've got you back on the program because we didn't get to talk about everything that we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, no, it was, like you said, we went on forever before we even started and after.
I know.
It's great to be
such
back.
fun. We're now best buds.
Yep.
But it was what we talked about before. And so, everybody can always go back and look at the program, was how you started your business. Mm-hmm. And that was just fascinating because it was something that, you started as a family. So, give us a little bit of more details about that.
Yeah, just, kind of a refresher or just a quick overview is, my husband and I, we got started back in 2015 with his father and sisters. And we really just developed this company out of the kitchen and, as a local thing that as we navigated the growth of the company, realized that we had a space within the corporate gifting industry, and that there was something lacking in that industry or in that space in regards to personalization, right, the gourmet gifts. And so a lot of people are sending gift baskets and things that are easy and convenient to send, because when you're a business owner, you're busy, which means you have 50 or 100 people that you want to send gifts to. And you need the most convenient thing because you are busy, but you also want to send something really, nice, a nice gesture.
And homemade cookies, holy schmoly.
So, exactly. But on the other side, if you're a business owner, you likely have a lot of colleagues and friends who are gifting to you, which means that you're stacking up the gift baskets at the same time during the holidays. So
tins of popcorn.
Exactly. Tins of popcorn, the pears. And while, pears in moderation are great. We were looking for something that was still delicious because like you said, especially during the holidays, but any time of year, it's always nice to have something where people can gather around and enjoy a treat or something like that. However, we really wanted to add that personalization component that said, I went the extra mile. You're not just a line on a list. And so we really built our company around creating that experience. And our cookies are literally, most of them are recipes straight from Dad. Some of them have been born throughout the growth of the company from my sister-in-law. And we have developed those and really, really made sure that our actual cookies and our product is good, because that's the foundation of our company is our actual product. And then on top of that, we really work to provide gift boxes that have that personalization component that can say made especially for Deb, that can have the power, the Power Hour logo on it, or my logo, whatever that is, or happy holidays, So we created this so that we do everything in-house so that it's quick, it's easy for that business owner to order, but it's also really fun to receive. And it stood out as something that you got especially for you, and not just because you were part of.
You didn't get the catalog from somebody in the mail and went, okay, that looks good.
Give that to all 50 of them, say happy holidays. That's great. And so I think that part is important because we do recognize that, and you're busy in business. So, you do want to send something special. It's just, how do you do that easy? How do you make it convenient and affordable? And, if you're going to spend the money on a basket of pears, like, why not make it some delicious cookies that actually have someone's name on it, that they get to keep the box? So that's kind of how we got started.
I love it. And we were talking before the program started that, this year is so different, because of the pandemic. And the fact that businesses still want to send things to their best customers, their business associates, people like that, but they can't go shop. They can't go deliver them. They can't do any of the things that we normally would do. And so the cool thing is they have turned to you. I mean, I'm assuming that your business is booming right now.
It's definitely been a unique experience, or dare I say, in these unprecedented times, right? I think
there's a commercial that says that. I love that.
Right?
Dare we say it?
It's been unique, when it first, when this all started to develop earlier in the year, which was nowhere near the holidays, we kind of had to figure out where to position ourselves, because originally, I think on the outset, everyone's thinking, well, this is great. People can't see each other in person. They're going to want to send gifts, and they do. The problem is that not a lot of people necessarily knew where the other person lived. So
because everybody's home officing now.
Right. So if a large portion of our clients do gifting, or they do prospecting, and so they use gifting as a tool to kind of stand out from the crowd. And that's a really cool thing, because if you are, getting 30 to 50 email marketing or marketing emails in your inbox, and all these people want your attention, they all want to meet, it's very easy to kind of sift through the subject lines and be like, marketing, I get it, like, bye. But when something lands on your desk and it says your name on it and it's cookies, like, you're going to open it. You're going to
pay attention.
Look at it. You're going to see that. Going to see who sent it. You're going to follow up likely. And that's a really unique opening or door that you can open to sales or partnerships. So for us, that was a really big part of the non-holiday season. And when this happened, everyone worked from home. Well, now I don't know the personal address of that guy that I'm trying to get him to open my emails. I don't even know.
Yeah. And if you ask them, sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't.
Well, could you imagine? Yeah. If somebody was like sending me marketing emails over and over and over, trying to meet with me, and then they're like, what's your address? You're like, oh, I don't think so. So we definitely had to pivot for a while. We developed this kind of campaign where we called it an address verification form. And it's basically where, a client would come to us, say, hey, we really want to reach out to these, 50 or 100 people. And here's what we want to say. Here's our gift message. We want to send them a personalized gift box, but we don't want to send it to their office and have them get stale cookies in 2 months or 3 months.
If even then,
That's not exact. Yeah. In hindsight, we're not really sure that's when it opened up, but but that doesn't leave the best impression either. If you're like, yeah, I got your 6-month-old cookies.
Yeah, we got this box of moldy something.
Exactly. So we developed this campaign, and basically they would send us that list of clients that they would originally send to their office. But they said, here's their email. Can you please let them know that they have a gift waiting for them? So we would then deploy emails out to those people.
Oh, I love that.
That you have a gift on behalf of so-and-so. They've already paid for it.
So it didn't seem like spam.
Yeah, literally all we need is your shipping address. We're not, it said in there, we're not going to go sell this to anybody. We're not using it. We literally wouldn't even share it with our clients. It was just ours to ship and then get rid of. And that was a way of just getting through this, original strange, dynamic that we had. And so that was unique. And we saw we saw a lot of success with that.
Mhm.
It did depend, again, if you were looking to prospect with like cold lists that you had bought, you're not
Mhm.
going to see
Right.
as much
Mhm.
success, but you wouldn't see that in general because those
Mhm.
people literally have no idea who
Right.
you are.
Mhm.
But with the warmer leads or the
Mhm.
people that they semi-knew, we did see success with that. And we still have people that are running these campaigns that love using that feature because it also means they're not paying for boxes that are getting returned.
Right.
And that's, a big waste of their time
Mhm.
and money and
Mhm.
effort. So that has carried through the year
Mhm.
and it is still continuing to go forward. Another big thing that we have seen lately is, and you likely saw this too, is originally earlier in the year, a lot of events shut down and it
Right.
was like, okay, we're going to suspend it for a while. We're going to
Mhm.
suspend it. And then a lot of them just said, no, next year at the same
Mhm.
time. Then we also saw a lot of events move to virtual. And
Mhm.
when a lot of events move virtual, we definitely saw an uptick with companies, or a trend with companies, because they were going to spend, a specific allocated budget towards an on-site event where
Mhm.
they were renting the space, the venues, they maybe had a room
Ah.
block, they were
Mhm.
doing catering, they were
Mhm.
doing snacks, all of these things that now they aren't doing, but they still have this virtual event and they still want to
Right.
make it special. And
Right.
so,
And you would have got a goodie bag before.
right. Yeah. And they would have spent quite a bit of money because likely they had sodas out or
Mhm. Mhm.
chips, or they gave you
Right.
like a goodie bag,
It's
like
obviously
cookies.
saving them money. Mhm.
Right. So it's actually, but all that money it's saving them.
Mhm.
But now they do have some of that budget
Right.
to still make it special,
Mhm.
even though it's a virtual event. So
Mhm.
some of the things we've seen are companies coming to us and saying, we have all these attendees.
Mhm.
We'd like to send them a box with our virtual event or our events logo
Mhm.
on it, maybe the year and their
Mhm.
name on it, just to make it
Mhm.
special. We've also seen people use the boxes as an invitation to the event,
Ah.
because
Mhm.
they just really want to capture your attention, say
Mhm.
this is still going to be like a big
Mhm.
fun event, because I think that leaves a little bit more of an impact.
Mhm.
I think there was a lot of, in a lot of events, I think you saw the attendees list decline
Right.
heavily, because if we're being honest with ourselves, it is hard to stare at a screen for 6
Mhm.
hours
Oh
and watch
yeah. Mhm.
speakers. So I think that using the gifts as an event invitation was
Mhm.
really great too, because it kind of showed like,
Mhm.
hey, we're still putting a lot of
Mhm.
effort into this. You're still going to
Right.
get
It's
value out of
worth
it.
your time. Mhm.
Right. This is not like, oh, now it's digital, never
Mhm.
mind, like we don't care. So
Mhm.
I think that was a really cool way
Interesting.
to kind of bring people and still get their interest
Mhm.
and get some traction
Right.
going. And then another way in that event space that we've seen is the like during the event, they'll send the box out before the event
Mhm.
starts, and it says like do not open
Ah.
until the event.
Mhm.
And during the event, they'll do an unboxing all at the same time.
Oh, so
And
everybody
so,
gets their cookies out, and
yeah,
you
so they
have a
all get
virtual
them
cookie
out.
party or whatever. Mhm.
Exactly. They all get to do a virtual cookie party. One
Oh, I
really
love it.
cool,
Mhm.
kind of powerful one that we saw was they did that same unboxing during the event.
Mhm.
And that was actually for a charity. And what was really cool to see, they invited us to actually get to be there and kind of watch. And
Mhm.
what was really cool is in each of those boxes, they actually put a unique insert that told the story of one of the children that was being
Oh,
benefited
mhm.
from that. And all
Wonderful.
the boxes had a different story
Mhm.
and a different child. And so that was really cool because
Mhm.
they made it special for each
Mhm.
person. And so those were just unique ways that they've kind of
Right.
tied these
Mhm.
events into direct
Mhm.
mail again. And then, another way that we're seeing now, because we are getting closer and closer to the holidays,
Mhm.
is of course the holidays times 10, right? Because now it's not just the people that you normally see or the big,
Mhm.
VIPs. Now it's, oh my gosh, I haven't seen any of my colleagues or
Mhm.
clients. Like I want to send something, or maybe it's my employees. I want to
Mhm.
send something just to say, have a sweet holiday season.
Mhm.
And that's nice for the families.
Mhm.
So people have done, instead of maybe their logo, because it
Mhm.
is their colleagues and clients
Mhm.
or even employees, is they've done the family like name monogrammed. So
Ooh.
like you know, like if you did Crier, it would have a big K,
Mhm.
and then it would have your name or
Mhm.
your last name or the
Mhm.
Crier family or
Mhm.
something in the middle. And that was like a really cool, authentic
Mhm.
keepsake, because that is from a personal client or
Mhm.
colleague or employer. So you know who it came from. You
Mhm.
don't need the logo to remind you,
Mhm.
but they're keeping it. It gets to
Right.
stay after. Um, and so those are like some of the cool things.
Mhm.
One thing we just saw recently is employee awards. People aren't getting together for their
Oh,
holiday.
okay. So this is their end of year
Yeah,
gift thing.
because
Mhm.
I mean, and I'm sure they're still mailing like glass
Mhm.
trophies or whatever that is,
Right.
but
Mhm.
those gatherings have been canceled for the most part or
Mhm.
moved to web. And so they do the same thing. You know, if you want to
Mhm.
invite everybody gets
Mhm.
cookies instead of the holiday party. I mean, I
Mhm.
know it's not the same as 2 drink tickets, but
I'd rather have cookies.
but right, you're saving the money on
Mhm.
not having the actual holiday
Right.
party, so they move that budget
Mhm.
to something special.
Mhm.
And then also awards, like they've done, you know,
Mhm.
different companies have done fun awards etched into the box.
Mhm.
And so those are just like really interesting ways
Mhm.
to gift that aren't just your holiday gift, but I mean, I think our cookies are, because of the gifting and the whole presentation, it
Mhm.
makes for an excellent holiday gift, but it's really
Right.
fun when you
Mhm.
see how people get creative with
Mhm.
it. And because we do everything in-house, we're able to do that with them, where it's
Right.
not
Right.
just, oh, your logo fits right here and that's
Mhm.
it, you know?
Mhm.
So it's been a unique time to kind of watch how the world's been and
Mhm.
how people have pivoted or
Mhm.
used our gifts as a way to still bring people together or
Mhm.
bring happiness.
I love it. And we talked about this last time is that you have that equipment to
Mhm.
be able to personalize either the cardboard box or the wooden boxes. And like you said, it's kind of whatever they want.
Right.
And because that's always the drawback when we have ordered these things in the past. It's as you said, you get a 2-inch square that goes right here, and what are you
Right.
going to put in that? And it has to be the same thing on everything. I mean, just like if you were ordering 50 keychains to give
Exactly.
out at an event, every
Exactly.
keychain has to have the same thing. Well, if you're giving out 50 of these boxes, you can do something different on every single box. And I love that.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a really cool like component of our business,
Mm-hmm.
because I often forget that that's not possible in a lot of companies,
Right. Mm-hmm.
or offered. I mean, it
Mm-hmm.
might be, I'm not sure, but even for us, I do for, you know, because as much as we all love cookies, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily gifting cookies all the time to everyone,
Right.
but
Mm-hmm.
internally we kind of have a fun tradition
Mm-hmm.
of um, I give everyone an enamel pin
Ooh.
to commemorate the year, but it's not like, it doesn't say like 2020. It's
Mm-hmm.
just like just something that represents the year,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty funny because last year I gave them all a dumpster fire, like a little pin,
Uh-huh.
which if I would have only known how this
Right.
year
Yeah.
would have
It'd
gone,
be
it would
this
have
year
been
instead.
totally
Mm-hmm.
different. Yeah, a
Right.
little, I
Well,
sort
now
of
you can do the little COVID thing
right,
with,
like,
yeah.
yeah, it's just like, I totally jumped the gun on that one, I
Mm-hmm.
guess, but this year I went looking for the thing that I wanted,
Mm-hmm.
and,
Yeah. We
um,
can't tell what it is because they don't have them yet, right?
no, um, and so, I went looking, and then I had this idea of like, oh, I wanna do maybe something different, a little bit different for each one,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't even occur to me until checkout that I was supposed to be ordering 50 of each of these,
Oh.
or like
Mm-hmm. Right.
it was
Yeah.
like
Mm-hmm.
one for
Mm-hmm.
$27
Mm-hmm.
or 50 for $3 each. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
I'm like, what am I
Mhm,
gonna do with
mhm,
50 of them? And so that it was weird because I had a moment where I was like, oh, should I just get our logo on them?
mhm.
And that's not my personality in regards to,
Right.
I don't want to give them a pin with our logo on it,
Mhm,
but I was trying to think like, what am I going to do with the leftovers? Well,
mhm.
I guess we need pins so we could use them for events. And
Yeah.
it started to go backwards and like not
Mhm.
be personal
Wasn't
and
fun
special.
anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, it was all of
Mhm,
a sudden like, oh, here's
mhm,
a pin with our, no, that's not going to represent
mhm,
this year. I'm not going to let it go down
mhm,
like that.
mhm,
But it just had that moment where all of a sudden I was moving backwards to make it less personal.
mhm.
so that I could fulfill the minimum or the quota for that. And so I forget about that stuff until I'm presented in that same space, which just happened to me, that you can't just go and, for us, it's cool to be able to actually personalize every single box. And that is, at the heart, what we had set out to do is make that so that when that lands on your desk and it says your name, you're like, oh, they made this for me. Like they didn't make it because, it was the holidays and they had to pull up their whole list. But, you forget when you're so close to it.
Right. I love it. I love it. And I love the address verification thing. I mean, that's a cool service because like I don't put my address out there. I home office. Most of the time I'm here alone. Now my husband's here because he is work from home. But I learned the hard way not to put my address on things because, when I started my business, it was like, oh, must have business cards.
Right.
And business cards had the email address, they had the phone number and the physical address. And so, I dutifully put that on my business cards and then started having people appear at my house. Now it's a house wanting to sell me things. I mean, an insurance, a copy machine guy, I mean, all these various things. And so, and now this was long enough ago that, when you signed up for trade, so like business associations, chambers, things like that, they weren't used to home officing. So you had to put a physical address in, and now they've all figured out, okay, we don't want to do that. But yeah, most people, they don't want to give out their home address. And so I love that you can verify that. And like you said, the client themselves never gets that information either.
Right. And that was important to us too, because, and there's still people that are reserved. So we do have like a cadence to it. So if they don't answer after a couple days, we send a reminder. If they don't answer after a couple days, like I will send a reminder and say, I'm a human, like, hi, we're you. Because, for the sake of full transparency, we're not 1-800-Flowers. So we're not, we don't have the same brand recognition. So when somebody gets that from us, they might not recognize us and they're like, okay, but then we'll do a follow-up or I'll do a follow-up. And I'm like, I'm the owner. We have this already prepaid. And usually we get more and more bites from that because the first one, they're not sure. And for good reason. I mean, I think that's fair because now we are dealing with our home addresses. And while not as many people are necessarily going to knock on your door, the last thing you want is like your personal info out there. And so, we write on there, we're not sharing this. Hopefully people believe us because we do not share it. And when somebody asks for it, I do not give it out. It's just meant simply to ship the box and then be deleted from our system.
Yeah. It is kind of scary how easy it is to get some of this information. And I mean, you just Google somebody's name and, but you can also get a lot of misinformation that way. You get previous addresses, you get, if you've got somebody who has, a similar name or the same name, I mean, there's certainly lots of those.
Yeah, Martin is a fun last name to have now.
And so that way, that it's going to the right person.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, just like you said, so for us, it's, you kind of had that struggle with your home address with business. For us, it was unique because we're an online bake shop. So we ship anywhere nationwide. And we're not a storefront. You don't walk in and as delicious as it sounds, you don't walk in and grab coffee and like have a meeting here. It's more of you shop online and we ship nationwide. However, one thing, that we were very, very proud of is that we had a stellar Yelp rating. Like we had such wonderful positive reviews, and same with Google, just like amazing reviews because we have worked really, really hard to maintain product quality. And so that's something we're very, very proud of. But in order to have Facebook reviews or Google reviews, you need to have an address. Right. Well, that's very confusing to people. And so,
because they're thinking you're a bakery. Why can't I go in and get a cookie?
Yes. And so some of the only negative reviews we had were that it would be like, drove around, couldn't find them. And so we get like a 1-star review.
Right. So then you explain, we're terribly sorry, but
but it's like, and I feel bad because people are like, well, then why'd you put your address on there? And they just don't know that unfortunately we're stuck doing that to market. So it's just funny because we've also had, people just show up and knock on the door.
Can I have a cookie?
And they're just like, oh, are you a bakery? And we're like, kinda. And, of course, I might be shooting myself in the foot here, but
you
they
give them a cookie.
Yeah. Well, because of course you came this way, we're going to give you some cookies. So, but that's just the internet. Anytime with businesses, there's just some fun growing pains with figuring out where to share your information and where not to. And same with, now for everybody, that everybody's at home, they're probably dealing with the same.
Right. And I would imagine that the other tricky thing for you has been inventory. Especially because, when we went into this in March, they said 2 weeks, everything will be all better. And we all went, yeah, right. It's not going to be 2 weeks. But, many people thought a month, a couple months, and then here we are, this is, as we record this, it's November, and it ain't getting better for quite a while. But for something like what you do, not only do you have the paper goods that you can order, but you also have fresh things like eggs, and so trying to figure out how to order all of that, not knowing how much it's going to ramp up, has got to be really difficult.
Yes. And, I'm sure if my sister-in-law is listening, she's like, yes, it is. It is difficult. She's the head baker, and she, we have, an amazing team, and she has spearheaded all the baking. And as we grew, we also got a fulfillment team. And so they kind of they work together, but they run separate sides, in that she'll be running all the inventory of the ingredients, and then also production. How many cookies do we need to produce? And then on the fulfillment side, our head of fulfillment, he is managing, okay, how many boxes do we have? How fast can we assemble boxes? How many team members do we have that can do it at this rate, so that we can plan both the inventory of boxes, the assembly of boxes, the ingredients, but then also the staff members, right? Because if we ramp up and we only have 3 people back there, but we need to fulfill like at the rate of 5, that's when we're coming back there.
But you don't want people standing around doing nothing either.
Right, exactly. You don't want too many people just waiting, kind of hanging out, because we're also a small business trying to like manage our funds and trying to make sure we're
paying them to stand there is not good.
It's not the greatest, but of course we'll jump back when we can. But for baking, it was interesting, because we did actually, this, just like you said, when this all first happened, we thought, well, what does this mean? Because we don't know if this means we're going to slow down for a little bit. We don't know if we're going to stay the same. We were on a trajectory year over year of growth at about 3 times, and so we're like, well, does this slow us down? Do we keep anticipating growth? Is it the same as last year now because it's slower? So all these kind of things. And so we did actually pause baking for a little bit to manage inventory. And our cookies are, I don't know if you know, but a lot of actually, I learned this in the baking industry in general, that the majority of baked goods that you have, whether that's like a croissant at a fast food restaurant on a breakfast sandwich, or a croissant at a coffee shop, that those are all actually baked way ahead of time and frozen, and they taste fresh. Because baked goods taste fresh, frozen. There's something about the chemistry of it that
somehow it almost makes them better.
It's very strange, but it's it's a blessing. But but I did not realize that some of your favorite like fast food or like coffee shops, that when you get that baked good, that it's been baked and frozen. I actually got to tour one of the facilities.
Because we like to think they're fresh, as in just came out of the oven 10 minutes ago.
And it tastes like it. So, I mean, I would just think every morning they wake up and they bake those ones and it's totally not the case. So we're fortunate in that our cookies actually last frozen for up to like.
But you do have to worry about storage space. I mean, it's not like you can have 200 million dozen cookies.
Exactly. and you don't want, because ours could last up to a year, but you don't want to pre-bake them all and just wait and hope that we definitely want a quick cadence in that we bake them, they're frozen a little bit, and then they ship out, and so we were pause baking a little bit to manage that. But the other thing that we ran into is the ingredients, because as you know, in March and April, life was a little bit strange in the shopping side. So we, you know, in addition to obviously cleaning supplies and things like that, eggs were like a tough go to find. For us, I believe it was vanilla. The price of vanilla spiked like a lot.
Right.
And vanilla is in a lot of cookies.
Most of the cookies, yeah.
Yeah, so vanilla extract was very, very
Mhm.
expensive. And that's hard for us because again, we're, you know, it's obtainable,
Mhm.
but we don't want to, you know, make our prices skyrocket.
Right.
Then that also is gonna, of course,
Mhm.
the cookies as gift are going to be one of the first things you're cutting.
Mhm.
When it comes to keeping your business alive and just personal finances, any
Right.
of
Mhm.
it's okay. Well, I want our employees to stay. We're
Mhm.
gonna stop prospecting with
Mhm.
cookies.
Right.
We're gonna do
Mhm.
emails. You know, so all of that was stuff we had to keep in mind for
Mhm.
sure. And we got into the rhythm again, but
Mhm.
it is interesting because we are still growing and we're very,
Mhm.
very fortunate in that we are still seeing growth over last year and the years before, but we then have to anticipate, okay, are the holidays, you know, say we're seeing 3 times the growth that we saw last year. Are the holidays 3 times last year? Are
Right.
they not because now people have been gifting more
Mhm.
because they've been trying to stay in touch more? Are they not because people have fewer clients or unfortunately some businesses have
Right.
stopped? You know,
Obviously reduced funds. Mhm.
right. So is that going to have an effect on us in that we're not going to see that growth? Or is it going to be even more because all the people have reduced spend throughout the year and now this is the one thing they're going to
Right.
spend money on?
Mhm.
So we're just playing it by ear. We're
Mhm.
going, but we're definitely, you know, we're definitely cruising. And
Mhm.
so it's been really great. And
Mhm.
we are up and running at full capacity. So I'm pleased to at least, you know,
Mhm.
see that and see that we aren't affected,
Mhm.
at least currently, knock on
Right.
wood.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We aren't
Tomorrow things could
affected.
change. Who
Yeah,
knows?
and as well as in the ingredients
Mhm.
departments, like we're able to get the things that we need
Mhm.
and still go forward.
Right. Well, one of the things, and this was initially why you contacted us, was to talk about direct mail.
Mhm.
And it's funny because mailing people, we don't stop to think about it, but mailing them these boxes of cookies is direct mail.
Right.
And so that's what's fun about this is that there's been overall a resurgence. And I grew up when I started in doing all of this. Direct mail was all we had. We
Mhm.
really didn't have a lot of email. You certainly didn't have Facebook and all of those various things. So you had to mail things. And so you'd get 20, 30 pieces a day. Well, then, hello, we got email, we got all these various things, and direct mail almost completely stopped.
Right.
So now when somebody mails something, it's so cool. And I've got this here on my desk, and it's been here now for quite a while. It's this card. Isn't this pretty? So a friend of mine painted this, and it's actually a card that she has produced. It's on cardboard, and she sells them. But she sent me that card, and I kept it because it's so special.
Right.
And I've got over here on my door, same thing. I've got all the things like that people send. And so, but we all are now, let's remove the political direct mail stuff because that's just, ugh.
Yes.
But for
We're
your
all direct
business,
mail now.
oh, I know, so we'll just kind of forget about that right now. But, other direct mail campaigns, even if it is just a bulk mail, it's standing out again because we're not getting a lot of those things. So why should businesses really be thinking about direct mail right now?
Yeah, and I think that's a great question. And that's something that it's funny because we've actually navigated this in our own way, even being a gifting company, we've asked ourselves that in regards to our own direct mail, like
Mhm, mhm.
catalogs, right? And we're like,
Right.
I even do that. It's archaic, it's
Mhm,
now everything is digital.
mhm.
And
You should have it on Pinterest.
well, and ultimately, I'm like, do I want a piece of paper when I just would rather have it on my computer?
Mhm,
And I think that psychologically, yes, I'd like it on my computer,
mhm,
but also psychologically, what's going to get the attention of the person? And so there's a few things to direct mail, I think, that are really resurging, or there are a few things about direct mail that are
mhm.
causing it to resurge in a way that people aren't necessarily picking up on, and some people are, and it's powerful for them. And that is, you know, what you just described, which is that essentially the junk mail, right? And we get that, you know, when I was a kid, my grandparents would have tons of it because they would just
to occupant or resident.
Yes.
Well, you're occupant, you're resident.
Yeah. And you're like, okay, well, this sounds promising. And you just get this roll of like coupons / catalog / flyers or whatever that is. It's not addressed to you. It doesn't matter. And so we have that natural, just like, okay, toss it. Well, then email came out, and this is a really cool and cost-effective tool to use to get your brand out there, to get your name out there, to get the attention of someone. And it's faster. So you're obviously not writing letters to people anymore either. And because of that, there is this shift where it's now becoming digital junk mail. I mean, when you log on, I have my first Gmail account, which I am very proud of because it was my first name dot my last name.
Right.
You can't get that anymore. And when I keep it, but I don't go on it because when I go on it, I think it has 100,000 or more emails, and they're all just like emoji after catchy subject line after, you know, whatever tactic they can use to get you to open it. And we all know those tricks, and so it's junk, like it just is. And so if you're a retailer and I shop at your retail store and I get that, I know what I'm expecting when I'm getting one of those. So sometimes I'll delete it, sometimes I'll open it. It just depends on my mood, right?
Yeah, but you need to be shopping, so maybe there's a coupon in there.
But there's already that awareness that I'm already your client. I've already purchased from you. I know I already like you. So it doesn't necessarily bother me that much because it's like, okay, I'll delete it or I'll unsubscribe, but whatever. But if you are in a business and you're using email marketing to get the attention of someone that is not your client right now, that is a lot more difficult because somebody has to read your subject line. And I mean, as tricky as you want to seem, most of us know what it is. Like we just, so
yeah, because you also look at who it came from.
Yeah, we can, and you can try to put, you know, the RE colon so that it looks like,
yeah, they're replying to you. I love those. It's like, no,
I know it. So you are somebody I don't know. You're trying to get my attention. You can be as friendly as you want, but that's an agreement that like, it has to be right time, right place for me to enter into. And that's even for me to open it. Cause sometimes I'm like, I don't even want you to see I opened it, because if you see,
because then it's a real address.
And usually those types of campaigns have a drip campaign, which means that they will, the person didn't open it in 3 days, send them this email, or, the person opened it in 3 days, send them an email. Chelsea, did you respond, or did you see my email? Like, and so now
following up again,
I'm on the radar. I'd rather just not open it. But if I do, you know, then do I have the time to engage in this? Right. And so that's a very tricky place to get into. And so you're dealing with that all day, every day. Every day I'm getting at least 20 of those. And that's not a lot if you talk to some people.
Oh yeah, I get 20 every couple hours almost.
Right. And it's like, it depends. Like, yeah, from retailers, it's one thing, but from like prospecting, like Chelsea, I'd love to sit down with you and talk about your SEO. And Chelsea, I
love them when they want to talk to me about social media. I'm like, really?
And I'm also like, you know, I don't really feel like talking about SEO right now. So they can be as nice as they want, but you're inundated with them. So you ignore them. And eventually it becomes almost like
it's noise.
It's noise. It's white noise. And you're just like, okay. But if something lands on your desk now and it's a handwritten card, like you said, for example, I mean, I think that's why a lot of people, you know, in recent years, especially new, fresh out of college, employees have been taught, when you finish an interview that day, drop something in the mail, because they'll get it the next day. They're local. They'll, you know, drop a handwritten card that says it's nice to meet with you. It shows them you really care. Well, the reason that they're trained to do that is a extra mile moment that the person had to take the time to handwrite and drop in the mail. And so that same sentiment is coming back, in addition to, with the prospecting side, you can't ignore me if I land on your desk. Like you can ignore me if I'm in your inbox and you can ignore my subject line. But if I have cookies and I land on your desk and I say made especially for you,
Right.
that person has my attention for 30 seconds, likely more because they're cookies. But if it's a card, they have my attention for 30 seconds. I'm going to read it. I'm going to see what they have to say. So that is a thing that I think a lot of people that work in sales or relationships, or they are based on referrals, companies that really thrive on that relationship building and connection. I don't think everybody recognizes it yet, but the people that have started to implement these types of strategies, and it's been extremely powerful for them because we are hearing the feedback, and also we're seeing people come back to us, which means it's working for them. And they really feel like, wow, okay, this person really wants a meeting with me, and I'm not actually just part of an email list for them, which, I mean, yes, honestly, any prospect is part of a list, but if that company goes the extra mile to purchase a gift for you and personalize it for you, that's a shorter list. That's not a cold list of like, let's just throw anything at the wall. That's we've identified you and your company as a potential partner or client of ours. We think that we really could work well together. And your gifting strategy also speaks to the way that you kind of do business, because they're thinking, if this is what I get, just to try to get a conversation.
They've gone the extra mile here, they'll go the extra mile in other things.
Right. What does that say about how they do business in general? That, they must actually put a lot of effort into their work and who they work with. And so I think that direct mail really is coming back because of the white noise that is email marketing. And I think that email marketing is not going away. It's more cost effective. But when you have leads or people that you really want to get their attention, this is a very powerful way to do it. And it not only gets their attention, but they're likely going to thank you and open that door to a conversation.
Right. And even the standard kind of bulk type of direct mail things, that has come so far, because now, you can get so specific with who it's going to. There's obviously different printing techniques than there were even just a couple years ago. We got one of the political flyers, and it was printed on clear plastic.
Wow.
Now, the marketing person in me went, oh my God, this was expensive.
Right.
And actually I thought it was pretty cool. It's funny, I don't remember what the candidate was. And it lasted in my hand as long as it was to get to the trash can.
Right.
But, so yeah, if you're thinking about doing that from a business perspective, you can have things that stand out. You can have die cut things. And clearly, folks, anybody considering this, there are rules, so work with the post office. Don't just decide, hey, we're going to make something look like a fish, and send it out that way. No, but yeah, I mean, it really is something that, because we don't see it,
right,
it's, it stands out. And of course, the cool thing is if it's cookies, it really stands out.
Right. And it obviously, because of what's going on and how you're utilizing gifting right now, it's a little different, when the world opens up and there are offices again. Part of the cool thing about at least our gifts and using them for that is it led to a conversation, because if you're sending 10 or 20 cookies and you sent them to a person at an office, that person probably got it, was like, this is really cool. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I will eat 20 cookies, but they also likely went somewhere else in the department, shared it, said, look at what I just got. And then it ends up also being kind of a positive experience within the office, just a positive moment, because it's not just a pen or a magnet, it's these cookies. And now I've created an opportunity for that person to share like a more positive experience in the office, or maybe even talk about us a little bit more. Who sent that? If you're in your department talking to your colleagues, it's like, oh, it's from so-and-so, that's a digital marketing agency or a software company that is trying to meet with us. And that is all a very positive impression, I guess.
Right. And obviously this isn't cheap. and it shouldn't be cheap, with what you're doing, it shouldn't be, it shouldn't cost the same as sending, a pen. But it's also, when I was looking at your pricing, and we're not going to quote anything because it varies, all these various things, but it was also very reasonable. But as you're going through your list and thinking about things, it's like, okay, well, this person spent $100 with this year. Maybe I don't want to, spend X
Right.
number of dollars on a box of cookies. But at the same point, you're thinking, but maybe they'll spend 1,000, or something like that. So that's all the art of prospecting.
It really is. Yes, absolutely. And so some of the companies that we have, or the clients that we've had that have done prospecting, their product or service is so large that if they sent out 300 boxes and got 2 or even 1,
It'd pay for it.
they got 1. It paid for it.
Right.
And moreover, and you're correct. Like, so, our stuff ranges from $30 to $85 across the board. Right. But if you're putting in that money, you are likely leaving a lasting impression. So you just have to look at what your product is, what the return is, and then also what the lifetime value is of that relationship, because you are correct. Like, yeah, $30 might not make sense if somebody's spending 100, but maybe reigniting that relationship with them and re-engaging and showing them this, and maybe this kind of experience leads to more business, or also leads to referrals. And ultimately, you're right. At the end of the day, like, if you're blanket prospecting, a pen or like a card or something is going to be the way to go in some aspects. But on, like, a little bit of a level up or a warmer lead, I mean, this is, if you send flowers or you send a gift basket, you have to look at, like, you're sending an $80 gift basket, right? So do you want the $80 gift basket, and it's pears, and it's going to be great. Pears are great. I think I haven't eaten one in a while, but what sticks around after, because we have these wooden boxes at like $40, and the wooden box, that's a keepsake that then has,
they put their whatevers in it.
And so you can put your logo on it. You could put your logo and their name. You could put whatever you want on it. And that becomes a catch-all. It becomes a display. It becomes whatever.
A couple years from now, they go, oh my gosh.
Exactly. And so it's like, that is a lasting gift beyond just that moment. And there's more cost-effective boxes that we have that is just the moment. But it's all about the target demographic that you have, that you're sending to, and what you want the outcome to be, whether that's a meeting or a callback, or that's a appreciation for the whole year that they've spent with you as a client, or things like that. So I think it's really smart of you to bring up that you can actually use this almost on the front end of investing in a client that maybe hasn't spent much, but might actually had you, if you put more effort into the relationship. Yeah.
Well, I always think of that because years ago I volunteered with an organization, and was talking to their people who were working with the donors. And, they had a policy that, you had different levels that people could donate at. It didn't get to a personal type of recognition until it was a major donation, as in like $1,000 or more.
Wow. Yeah.
And I told him, and again, this was a little bit before email. And so, plus they, many nonprofits are dealing with an older demographic that might not have email. And I told him, I said, no, you need to recognize everything. Now, granted, there's different levels of recognition. The $100 donation should be different than the $10, and obviously very different than a $10,000 donation. But I told him, I said, the tricky thing is the person who donates $10 might be doing it to see what happens, or they're just like, okay, well, I'm giving to this animal shelter because, Kitty is happy today, so we're giving $10. But then they remember, oh my gosh, I got this cute little thank you email that was, just that said, hey, thanks for doing this. Then the next time that Kitty is happy and they want to donate more money, they remember you again, but if you ignored that or really downplayed it, as in it wasn't worth our time, then they won't. They'll go find somebody else to acknowledge. And the same thing goes with buying things. That's part of the reason why stores have greeters, and stores have people who are at the door saying, hey, goodbye. That the big thing around here is, we are the home of Chick-fil-A. Whether you like Chick-fil-A or not, they, a lot of their customer service policies are exemplary, because they do things like, it's my pleasure to serve you.
Right.
And it was funny. I went and picked one up the other day, and it was pouring rain, and it's my pleasure to serve you. And I said, I'm sorry. And then she realized what she had done, and she said, I'm terribly sorry. I said, no, it's probably not your pleasure right now, because she was getting soaked being out there. But yeah, it's their pleasure to serve it. And of course, it's also in how they say it. It's my pleasure to serve you. Is very different than it's my pleasure to serve you.
Right.
And so, yeah, the same thing with the acknowledgement and the things that you're sending to people is what was the thought and the heart that went into it. And sometimes it really is just saying thank you, with no expectation of anything. And that's great. But, more than likely that still leads to something. Even if it's just that they take a picture of it and they post it on Facebook and they say, oh my gosh, look what I got. Because then somebody else says, where'd you get that? I want that. And then that's where that goes.
Right. And I think, there's, oh my gosh, there's so much I could say about this.
I know.
I absolutely, and to your point about the shelter, or any charity, obviously you're trying to raise money, so you're not going to spend like $30.
Right.
But I think what you said touched on another thing about like brand loyalty. And that's something that I think it's not necessarily about the actual dollar amount, right? Because they spent $10. They don't know exactly what you spent, but it's about presentation. And if I receive something really personal, even if it was a handwritten card, but just a really personal moment, as much as I think we'd like to say, like, we don't do it for the recognition, when you do get recognized, it does feel nice. So if somebody actually took that time, I think it helps build, which can be applied to any sort of business, but I think it helps build this brand loyalty because this is, I don't know if this example necessarily will translate, but I teach cycle classes as a hobby, in all my spare time. And one of the things that a lot of athletic or some of the athletic lines that I like to wear do is they provide a deep discount for trainers or people that are personal trainers.
Because you're kind of selling for them.
Right. And they, and it makes me feel part of like the team, even though I'm not. It makes you feel like this loyalty to a brand, even though they didn't do really any extra like lifting or anything like that. But like that made me feel like, oh, like I feel special. And making you feel special makes you feel a little bit more loyal. And I think that can translate into a company, whether that's, maybe not the prospecting side, but maybe it is throughout the year doing onboarding, or, for us, we like to do, because the holidays are so crazy for us, we actually do our like client appreciation on Valentine's Day.
Right. So where you've had a chance to go,
we take a breath, but for everyone else, they aren't necessarily expecting it. So it is kind of nice because it's like,
it stands out.
And it's a moment of just, oh, like these people see me and they're recognizing me. And I think that really carries a lot of value. And the other part that you said, oh my gosh, just say thank you. People are so happy, like when they get, and so that's more on the receiving end. So if you're listening and you're the recipient of a gift box, it is so interesting how that we are in such a busy world right now that gets lost. And it's not meant to. I know nobody is meant to say, I don't want to say thank you, but if you get a box of cookies or anything, right, you're likely opening it right there. And if somebody distracts you, or if you do something, you're in your head,
forget to do that Facebook post or whatever.
But then it's gone. And then all of a sudden, like a day or two later, the person doesn't want to be like, did you get it? The cookies, And so it's such a funny thing because I don't think it's intentional, but it does happen a lot. And it's just that act of like, even if it's not on social media, it's always fun on social media because you take the picture and that person's like, I sent that, like that was me, but taking the picture, tagging them or whatever, it does. Other people are like, wow, that's so cool.
Right.
But it also just, I think it makes the sender feel like, okay, they really liked it. I did well in the gifting department. Like I did the thing that I wanted to do, which is make them happy. And so it sounds, very cyclical, but even just thank you for it is like,
Yeah, send them a quick text,
Right.
especially if it was something like a box, like something, and because you are wondering, did they get it?
Right.
And you hate to be that rude person saying, Chelsea, did you get that box that I sent you? Because then I just made you feel bad.
Well, yeah,
And
you also
so
feel dorky, like you don't want to be like, oh, did you get the flowers I sent? And then if they didn't, you're like, I'm glad I asked, but at the same time, I wanted it.
Then you're like, oh,
but now it's not a surprise.
Yeah, because then it's just awkward. So when you get something, it just, however you want to acknowledge it. Because we all need, and I think especially right now, we need that extra TLC. And if, when we're doing this for business, that's a great thing, like, so, you get a box of cookies and you send them a note and you say, what's been going on? And so then there's kind of that dialogue that keeps going. And so it really is just a great way to keep those things going. And some of it is just basic sales 101. I mean, when Carnegie was teaching these things, it was send cards, do all of these things. But yeah, it's just, it's be polite and say thank you.
Yeah, it is. And it saves us too, because when we get the calls and everyone's like, did they get our cookies? Which we give them tracking, but like, did they get our cookies? And we're like, yeah, they did. Or they'll call and say they haven't gotten our cookies yet.
So then you have to say, no, it was delivered at 12:01.
And also check the mailbox. So there's so many people that forget to check the mailbox. So it's just so funny. But ultimately, it's all with good intentions. And and so so that's all.
Yeah, I mean, but the more we can personalize stuff right now, the better. And I love that you have developed ways to kind of deal with the fact that things are just very unusual right now.
Right.
And I'm guessing, as we were saying, right now is going to be really busy, and then you'll have a couple weeks where it's like,
a little bit of a breath, and then we'll just straight into Valentine's Day.
And then of course you'll have the people like, oh, I forgot to send. How fast can you send this? Well, there's we can send it quickly, but it will cost you.
100%. Well, and we right Monday after Thanksgiving, that's when everyone calls and they're like, oh my gosh, I forgot, and we're like, gotcha. We do everything in house. We got you. We're good.
Right. So but if they call the week of Christmas, it's like, and of course that issue might not be you guys. It's however you're shipping that they're just inundated. And so there's so many things to keep in mind when we're doing these. So order now, people. Whatever it is that you're doing, order now. Even though this is actually airing a little bit after Thanksgiving. Now, order now.
Oh yeah. So I mean, that's the thing. That's the beautiful thing about doing everything here is like, if you call the 24th, it might be a little bit late, but we're shipping all the way up till Christmas, and so it's like we'll laser it, we'll get it out the door. So that's what makes us happy, that we can help save the day.
Yeah, and I love that you talk about doing stuff on Valentine's Day. That's the other thing, is to do things when people aren't expecting it. Right. We get inundated right now with everything, whether it's just Christmas cards or the cans of popcorn or all of those things. So do something, St. Patrick's Day, all of those various things, because then it's really going to stand out.
Exactly. Yes.
Well, oh my gosh, Chelsea, we've done it again. We filled the hour, and we could probably go on and talk some more, but tell us how people find you and how they check out these wonderful boxes of cookies.
Absolutely. So our website is getnoms.com. So GETNOMS.com. And on there, you can actually shop our assortments or our gift boxes. You can even upload if you had your logo or whatever design you've made, if you have that ready to go, you can upload it right there. It'll basically show you kind of a mini rendering of it, but on our side, it ships us, or it sends us the art, and we just make it beautiful on the box for you. So you can upload and go from there. We even have a tool where you can upload like a larger list, like, hey, I have 25 or 50 people that I'd like to send to. and you can check out in one order, not, you know, have to do that 50 times.
Right.
And then if you're looking for, you know, inspiration or anything like that, we're also on Facebook under Nom's Bake Shop, and on Instagram, it's the same as our URL. It's Get Noms, and we post, you know, pictures of different designs we do, but then also our clients will tag us and we'll share their photos. And so it's fun to kind of see, oh, people are doing happy holidays with their logo, or people are putting other people's names. So it's a cool way to kind of see what other people are doing and get some inspiration.
And I'm assuming that if they really want something special, they just contact you, and you're more than happy to discuss it.
We can make anything. So like some people already have a design that in mind, and some people come to us and say like, could you make like a wintry snowflake design? And ready to go. We'll do it. We like, I mean, our designer loves to be able to actually get to create, because she's normally doing whatever is already set. So if somebody's like, make me something, she will make you 5 things and send it your way.
I love it. I love it. Well, again, it's getnoms.com, as in nom, 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 nom. And, you know, I've got the website up and now I'm hungry, you know, because I'm looking at these wonderful, delightful cookies. But yeah, I mean, it's such a cool thing. And as we said, it's very reasonable, you know, but even if you're not going to do something like this, think about, you know, how you can stand out to your customers, your clients, you know, your family, you know, your special prospects, all of these various things, because we need to be treated a little special right now.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, Chelsea, do you have any final words for us?
I don't think so. I just hope that, you know, I hope this was helpful to anybody out there that's kind of looking for unique ways to either reach out to their clients or employees or colleagues, or, you know, trying to kind of pivot given what's going on. I think we're all, you know, navigating this strange time in our own way. And I just hope that we can help in building relationships and keeping those relationships, because now more than ever, I think that's what's making people happy. And that's what we're striving to do. So I hope everyone, you know, stays safe and has a wonderful holiday season. And thank you so much for having me again.
Great. I love it. Well, we'll obviously stay in touch, because it'll be interesting, say 6 months from now, to see what the heck is going on. So, you know, we'll be chatting again. But until then, I'm Deb Creer. I've been having a great time talking with Chelsea Martin, and everyone have a great day.
Tune in for our next program for even more trends, best practices, and techniques for how to make your business a success. The Business Power Hour, hosted by Deb Creer, is proud to be part of the C-Suite Network.